What's good, y'all? Today we are reacting to When Pastors Go Viral. And this video is by Clarissa C. But let's get straight into the vid. When it comes to viral pastors and things of that nature, I hate super churches. You know, I feel like there shouldn't be super churches. Like all these churches and the pastors driving off in a freaking G-Wagon while the people coming to the church are still struggling and they see the pastor drive off. You feel me? Bumping freaking Glorilla. It's I don't really know if that's the vibe. You know what I mean? Might want to go to a more local church. But let's not judge a book by its cover. I kind of judged it by the title. But let's get into the video and see what they're talking about.
I first got introduced to Pastor Mike Todd when his relationship series went viral on Twitter. At the time, I was searching for new ways to strengthen my faith and really just understand the Bible. I started watching his sermons regularly because they helped me see scripture in a way that actually spoke to me. And when I say me, I mean the youth, in a way that I can truly understand it. I won't lie and say that I didn't learn anything. I genuinely believe for that period of time that I did listen to him, that I was learning and reestablishing my faith. And then I stopped. I don't have a reason. I don't remember why. I honestly just fell off. But since I've been gone, it feels like this whole crazy faith movement has taken a turn, reaching a new peak of sensationalism. And honestly, it's confusing. Like, is it still about reaching the youth in a meaningful way, or is it about attention seeking at its finest? Mike Todd and his wife Natalie Todd were entrusted with the leadership of Transformation Church in 2015. At the time, the church wasn't nationally known, but it had a local presence. Once Mike took over, he began modernizing both the message and the delivery. He used social media, especially YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, to push his sermons. As a new age pastor, he knew how to break through. His breakout moment came in 2019 with his Relationship Goals sermon series. The series went viral on Twitter and it led to the growth of Transformation Church. The series tackled dating.
I know y'all saw that, bro. I was trying so hard not to say nothing about it, bro. Because it's a pastor, but like, what was that? You know what I mean? I don't think at any point in time, anywhere in the Bible, they had a scene like that, bro. But I mean, he probably knows way more than me. But in what scenario is this necessary? I'm highly confused. Bro got a suit on, a blazer on, white tee, gold chain, circle binocular glasses, bifocals. He got the sleeping mask on. Bro got a Snuggie around him, a gold watch, and mystery stuff on his face. And a big pink pillow right here. I'm genuinely lost, gang. I've really lost the plot. I don't think that there's a place in the Bible where this scene is necessary. But what do I know?
Moment came in 2019 with his Relationship Goals sermon series. The series went viral on Twitter and it led to the growth of Transformation Church. The series tackled dating, marriage, and sex from a Christian perspective, but with a very modern, blunt twist. One specific clip, where he talked about intentional dating and God's role in relationships, blew up, and the message touched every Black young Christian who felt like they never heard the Bible broken down in that manner. That series was so successful that it turned into a best-selling book, Relationship Goals: How to Win at Dating, Marriage, and Sex, which further propelled his reach beyond the church into a more global scale, into mainstream media. Pastor Mike originally wanted to be a producer, which kind of falls into line with how things started moving with the church's production. Music was everything to him, and that was solely his career path until he got a different calling.
So what most people don't know is, like, before I was a pastor, I was a producer. And so all I did was make music. Like, I had my own production company, all that other stuff. And God asked me to lay that down so he could give me another weapon. And I was like, what? Like, I had just built a studio. I had done all the different things. And God was like, yeah. And I just gotten offered to go to New York and produce with a major record company that was going to pay me 6 figures. And I had the presence of mind to pray about it. And this is what I felt like the Holy Spirit said. He said, if you go, you will be successful, but I'm going to take my hand off of what you're doing.
Holy.
And I knew that I was not good enough to be out there doing anything without God's approval.
Yeah.
And so I said no. And then I got into youth pastoring, and I went from the youth pastor to the executive pastor to the lead pastor in 5 years.
Interesting enough, it was during 2020, after the pandemic, a lot of people started seeing a shift with how Mike was coordinating his shows. Again, if you were around pre-COVID, it was difficult not to admire Pastor Mike and how he taught the Word of God. There were a few gimmicks, but nothing theatrical. His sermons were touching and didn't distract you from the message. He built an authentic audience where they could relate to him as a pastor. It was simple, but easy to understand. But after COVID, it seemed like the budget increased and the goalpost was moving on how he delivered the message.
Bro, this was never the plan. And so, been doing this, thought I was done with music. 2020, during the pandemic, the Holy Spirit said, it's time for music again. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's time for music again? He was like, I gave you a gift that I never wanted you to stop using. I just needed it to be to the side so I could give you another weapon. And he said, I gave you that, and now look around. He said, I've given you the platform, I've given you the resources, I've given you the influence. Now what you wanted to do is going to be easier than ever.
Now it's time.
Mike Todd's teaching style is undeniably versatile. He uses gimmicks and live demonstrations to bring his sermon to life. And while they can be a bit over the top at times, they're designed to make the message stick. He's not afraid to take the risk or break traditional norms, which is part of what sets him apart. The haircut moment, for example, was his way of illustrating transformation and submission, showing how letting someone shape you, literally and spiritually, can lead to growth. And because he's a young black man himself, a lot of people, especially younger audiences, they get it, even if the method feels a bit distracting or unconventional.
This is how a lot of our Christian life looks. That God has you in a position, he's trying to cut on you. He's trying to do something, and every time, and then you start doing stuff like this. What if you kind of like what if you, no, what if you kind of like turn it on? You know why God doesn't turn on a lot of the blessings?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was lost in the first half. I like it. I feel like, yes, it's giving some laughs, but it seems like, I'm not gonna lie, his church is probably lit. Like, it's probably fun to go to. You're learning, you're laughing, and but it's not taken away from the lessons that he's trying to teach you. You know what I'm saying? But he's trying to teach you in a way where it's like analogies, right? It's like, this is what you guys are, this is what everyone's doing. Like, they're blocking their own blessings, or they're trying to, move, or they're trying to control their blessings and things of that nature instead of letting the blessings come to them. It makes a lot of sense, bro. He kind of spitting.
It's because your hand is still on it. It's because you trying to direct where it's going. He said, this will hurt you too much if I turn this on right now. If I turn on the favor, if I turn on the blessing, if I turn it on, I need you to sit.
And other times, it is distracting and unconventional, where you're kind of looking at it like, huh? Where again, the message is there. There is meaning in his sermon. There is always an end goal to help the audience truly understand. But the extraness of his sermon looks like he's trying to put on a show. It begins to overshadow the message. What's meant to be symbolic ends up looking like...
This hell? Did he Is he reenacting hell in the church?
Like a performance. It gets harder to focus on the spiritual truth when it feels like you're watching a stage play.
Yeah, and then you watch it and you're like, this
And
kind
it
of lit.
shifts focus.
Like they kind of snapping, like with the dances. You probably like, yo, this song go hard. You can't do that. That part you can't do, bro. Nah, bro, you can't start dancing. Like this look like you probably like, nah, bro.
Away from the meaning behind his words and how it relates to the Bible. So after a while, he continues to push his message using props and theatrics, and it begins to look like right message, but wrong messenger.
Can you bring me something else to comfort me? What used to comfort me doesn't work anymore. Some condoms, some lotion. Oh, I like it. Come on, let's see what else happens. Go. Yeah. Let me get out the way. Oh, out of bounds on black. It's white ball. Come on out here. White ball. It's white ball. You want the ball? Get it fasting. Here we go. Come on. Uh-oh. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh.
He's losing me. But I don't know, bro. Cause this is a lot. Like this is a very long, probably skit that's going on here. This probably goes on for like 45 minutes. Everybody over there, you got these boys running back and forth the whole time, trying to get your point off. But he might be losing me on this one. He might be losing me on this one.
Oh! Fasting. All right. We'll be here till 4 o'clock, and everybody like, let's go. Jerseys sold in the Represent store. Okay. All right, watch. We should do an all-star game or something here one Sunday. We should do that. Okay, we're gonna do that. See all these y'all favorite church singers and pastors spraining ankles. And what happens is at some point, this doesn't fulfill you. So this is what we do. We invite people in cuffing season into our beds. And they can be fake. We don't care who we cuddle with if it makes us comfortable. They can be fake. And they've been fake since we met them. But it don't matter when it's convenient. How you doing? Just, you comfy? We're not gonna do nothing. I just wanna, I feel your heart.
But it wasn't until...
He's doing... It's taking too long to get to the point, and it's very, theater kid, you know what I mean? It's a lot. I feel like, the haircut one, it's a little more tame. The other one, he got stuff all on his face. This one, he in bed. He's bringing mannequins in the bed. Like, there's probably kids in the crowd. The other one, he said condoms and stuff. Like, see, like, certain things, like, I don't know, man.
Mike did something nasty. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It was straight up nasty. During a sermon, he wanted to demonstrate what it means to receive a vision from God that others might not understand. In the clip, he spit in his hand and rubbed it on that man's face. This was meant to symbolize how messy and uncomfortable God's vision can be. But it did not land how he intended. Or maybe it did. At this point, who really knows?
You don't see it clearly yet. But you hear...
Nah.
It might get nasty.
Nah.
And do you...
Gang. That'll be the last time I'm in that church, bro. This shit dripping off his hand, bro. Then he had to take it out his mouth. Alright, this can't all be his spit. He probably like spit in his hand, like wiped it, you know, put some other stuff on his hand, and then wiped it on bro's face. That has to be that's the only thing that could have happened. You know what I mean? But the dude think it's spit on his face. But it's not. Bro, what? Yeah, bro, this would have been the last time I'm at that church. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care how many basketball games you hosting, bro. I'm be like, I think I want to go back to the originals. You know what I mean? I want to go back to the basics. I think we're losing the plot here.
Do you hear and see the responses of the people?
Bro, it
Till
should make me
this day,
sick.
that video, it makes me cringe. It is absolutely stupid, disgusting, and he got a lot of backlash for it. The internet damn near exploded. People were disgusted. Disgusted. They said that the demonstration was not only unhygienic, because it wasn't, especially during the pandemic, but wildly inappropriate and disgusting. The backlash was way too much for him and the church, and Mike ended up having to apologize.
First off, let me say this. I am not a regular preacher. Like, when I say a regular preacher, like, I was bored in church. And so when God called me to preach, I was like, all right, I'm going to actually use everything that I have to help people get it. And so I tell stories, I use examples. And honestly, I'm doing everything how Virgil Abloh said for my 17-year-old self. Most 17-year-olds, they don't care nothing about church. They're trying to see the girl with the booty and go eat and go play with the... So I'm trying to like capture. So I've always used examples and stuff like that. And so there's this story in the Bible where Jesus basically heals a man by spitting on his hand and putting it on his face. And so this is an example I'd done 3 times before. And this is with my blood little brother. This is not some random audience member or anything like this. Now, this is a brother we fought, blood, like this is my little brother. And he wanted to do the example with me so I could show it. And the whole idea was like many people will not be willing to go through a messy process to get their healing. God's saying, can you physically and spiritually and emotionally be able to stand when getting the vision or receiving it might get nasty? So the idea was, this man was blind. He wasn't deaf. So if Jesus is about to spit, he's standing there in front of Jesus, and he can hear. Like, if you hear somebody about to hallelujah, you're like, oh my God. And I was trying to say, as disgusting as this is, that man stayed there, and he received something that nobody else could give him. I shared a screenshot with some of my brothers earlier today that I cannot repeat on this telecast. But people basically... had written off every good thing that I'd ever done because of one thing that wasn't a sin. It was just gross. It was just disgusting. But I can think of a lot of other things y'all do with spit too.
Since Transformation Church has been on the path of go big or go home, they have went viral quite a few times. During Easter Sunday, they decided to do a huge production, remixing Beyonce songs, and Lord knows, y'all know that's a different conversation because you know the church hates Beyonce. They hate that woman. They call her a devil worshiper. And basically they did a whole BET show but in gospel.
Step 1, find you a baddie. Okay. But step 2, she gotta have a fatty. Hey. Yeah. Look back at it. Uh-oh. What is she doing? Friends, I don't have a fatty.
Money came by door, but I whip my grind in a Rari. You ain't really a boss unless your family in your squad. I'ma make some shake, cause I got your sewer boy. We about to go crazy.
They made a real concert, bro.
He gave me the juice like a charger, so I gave it to you. Watch I get away for the free. Overflow like I'm under the sea. You can see what we do with the sea. Now we got fruit in everybody get deep. No.
Honestly, after
Bro, they drove a cyber truck in the church. I don't know about that one, bro. I don't know about that one. He's doing a lot of skeptical stuff. Like, he's taking it to, like, really 10. And you can really keep it at, like, 5 and be okay, bro. You just drove a cyber truck through the church. And, like, cool. But everybody at that church can't afford no Cybertruck, bro. And you just drove one inside the church. I feel like that's pretty odd. Pretty odd, if you ask me. But let's continue.
After watching the church service, especially on Easter Sunday, many people were left stunned. It felt less like a sacred celebration of Christ's resurrection and more like a concert. The choreography, the dramatic stage design, all of it gave more of a performance vibe than a worship experience. People pointed out the use of the secular music style. Does it still make it a gospel song just because you switched a few words around? I know the Boondocks would have had a blast with this concept. For a day that's supposed to center around the cornerstone of Christian faith, the production felt like too much, even blasphemous to some. And the churches sometimes could be a really sensitive place, so he was really kind of pushing the boundary. It wasn't that his use of creativity or modern presentation was wrong, but the tone and delivery just did not sit right. The overwhelming reaction was that it played with the sacredness of church. What should have been a moment of reflection and praise felt like more of a show, and for a lot of viewers, it crossed the line. And they weren't really lying. Like, if you watch the video, there's a truck in the middle of the aisle. I thought that was Burna Boy. And it kind of questions, like, who are you doing this for? Again, you could be modern all you want. You could go big or go home, but who is this for? Are you trying to live a long lost dream as a producer, putting on this huge production? Transformation Church is known for the word, but also the gimmicks. So now it's put into question. Is this still about God, or is this about going viral? Members of the congregation have decided to depart from the church, feeling like their values no longer align with the church.
Another staff member just left, and all they said was it's because God called them somewhere else. After 6 years, you can't even tell me the real reason? But you do subliminal Instagram posts?
And unfortunately, pastors are just...
You can't be sending subliminal shots to people, bro. You telling them that they're lying, but everyone's supposed to believe you when you say, you know, why can't you... Damn, I'm trying to fix the camera. Like, you should take what they're saying at face value, you know? Like, okay, if God told you to go somewhere else, you should have nothing but respect for that. Like, all right, you know, better things are coming then. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you shouldn't have said that. He's doing a lot of shaky stuff. Like, he lost me. He had me again. He lost me again. You know what I mean? He's doing too much shaky stuff. You know, even, having a concert at church, cool. You want people to feel something. You want to, even using the newer beats and, music style, cool. But it was just too much. I'm trying to imagine in my head, like, I feel like church is supposed to give you, a good feeling. And I feel like that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to give that feeling where it's like, this isn't, church isn't a chore. Church is something that you go to and you enjoy, which I respect that. But you taking it too far, I think.
Men. And because they are quote unquote godly men, they are held to a different standard because they are the one teaching the words of God. The problem lies is that you're supposed to be a good person, and sometimes your congregation or your members have to constantly question what exactly you're doing. Because this is a business, church is a business at the end of the day, A lot of pastors, whatever you want to call it, the preacher pastors, prosperity pastors, you constantly have to watch what they're doing and sometimes question why they're actually doing it. You have pastors like T.D. Jakes, who has just been named in the Diddy trial, and guess what? He just had to step down.
That's
He had to
crazy.
step down from the church. You have pastors like Joel Osteen, who literally would not open his church for Hurricane Harvey victims until he received backlash.
That was actually crazy, because I live here in Houston. I be driving past that church and I'm like, bro, I be seeing, like, I remember I think I drove by on a day that, you know, I don't think they were having church, and I see freaking a whole bunch of black trucks outside. I'm like, you living like the president. Like, what does bro's house look like? You know what I mean? Joel Osteen, what kind of house does he have, bro? I want to, like, you know, what kind of car does he drive on a daily basis? You know, I feel like as a pastor, you're supposed to have a level of, you know, charity. And like she just said, like, he didn't even open the church to people that were suffering from the flood. You know, like, this church should not be yours. It should be everyone that's a part of that church. That's who that church should belong to. And you're treating it like it's yours. And I feel like that's not right. I'm about to look up Joel Osteen's house right now. We about to see it together, y'all. We about to see how big that thing is. Matter of fact, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up right here, man. Joel. Oh my goodness. Osteen. House. Joel Osteen's luxurious $10 million mansion. I'm not going to your, like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to your church. You're living like this, and the people coming to your church are not living, you know, nearly nothing like that. You know, you're living a life of luxury, and if we're going to be honest, it's gluttony. You don't need all this. Greed. You don't need all this. You do not need all this. $10 million, you could have given that back to all the people a part of your church. You could have helped people. You helped more people in your church. $10 million. You don't need a $10 million house. You don't. That's why I don't like super churches and stuff. And it seems like the other dude, you know, at first maybe he started off smaller, but it seems like he's a super church now. But these super church pastors, like, bro, you can't rock with them, bro. The reason the churches are getting so big is because they treat it like a business. And that's not cool, bro. I can't get down with that.
That man was never gonna open the church for the flood victims. That's y'all pastor. With Mike, it's just that people take things differently. What may come off as secular to you, others see no wrong with it. Do you believe that ego has plagued Pastor Mike, where he feels like virality is the new way to capture the youth's attention? Or do you feel like once he became popular, he lost the plot on what made him popular in the first place? Let me know what you guys think down below, and make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Toodles.
Yeah, I think he lost the plot. I think he's trying to, like, outdo himself. But when do you get too far in trying to outdo yourself? You know, you're wiping spit on people's faces and stuff. Like, okay, you know, Jesus did it. You're not Jesus, gang. If we gonna keep it a stack. You're not Jesus, gang. And you wiping spit on people's faces, even though that is your little brother. Shouldn't have did that. And he should have known better. Somebody there should have known better and should have told you, I don't know if this is it. You know, let's say you pretend like you're spitting on your hand, or you spit on your hand, his eyes are closed, he doesn't know it's not spit. You wipe it off, wipe your hands while you're talking, you know, and then you put whatever on his face. He, in his head, he don't even know that it's not spit, but for everybody watching, we know, like, you didn't just wipe spit in bro's face, right? So that would even be more of an analogy of what happened, right? Jesus spit in his hand, wiped it on someone's face, you know, to bless them, right? You, on the other hand, you spit in your hand and wipe it on someone's face. You just spit in someone's face. But if the person can't see, so they hear the spit, they know it's spit, but it's not spit. That's the difference. You know, it's a lot more powerful. So if you would have put something else in your hand, put it on his face, cool. But you shouldn't have spit in Gang's face. But anyway, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all that other shit. And I love y'all. Make sure to binge all the rest of the videos on the channel. And peace.